5081. If a balloon is not equipped for night flight and official sunset is 1730 EST, the latest a pilot may operate that balloon and not violate regulations is A. 1629 EST, B. 1729 EST, C. 1829 EST. The correct answer is B. According to FAA 91.119, a balloon that is not equipped for night flight may not be operated after the end of evening civil twilight. Evening civil twilight is defined as the end of the period when the center of the sun is 6 degrees below the horizon. In this case, official sunset is 1730 EST. However, evening civil twilight ends at 1729 EST. Therefore, the latest a pilot may operate a balloon that is not equipped for night flight is 1729 EST. Operating a balloon after 1729 EST would violate FAA regulations and could result in civil penalties or criminal charges. 5590. A balloon flight through a restricted area is A. Never permitted. B. Permitted any time, but caution should be exercised because of high-speed military aircraft. C. Permitted at certain times, but only with prior permission by the appropriate authority. The correct answer is C. Restricted areas are areas of airspace that are designated by the FAA for military operations or other activities that require special flight restrictions. Balloon flight is not permitted in restricted areas without prior permission from the controlling agency. The controlling agency for a restricted area is typically the military unit that operates in the area. To obtain permission to fly a balloon in a restricted area, you must contact the controlling agency and request permission. The controlling agency will review your request and determine whether or not to grant permission. If permission is granted, you will be given specific instructions on how to fly in the restricted area. These instructions may include things like altitude restrictions, speed restrictions, and communication procedures. It is important to note that even if you have permission to fly in a restricted area, you must still exercise caution. Military aircraft may be operating in the area at high speeds and altitudes. You must be aware of your surroundings and take steps to avoid collisions. 5882. A change in behavior as a result of experience can be defined as A. Learning, B. Knowledge, C. Understanding. The correct answer is A. Learning is a relatively permanent change in behavior that occurs as a result of experience. Knowledge and understanding are both products of learning, but they are not the same thing. Knowledge is the accumulation of information, while understanding is the ability to make sense of that information. For example, if you learn how to ride a bike, your behavior will change. You will be able to get on the bike, pedal, and steer. This change in behavior is a result of your experience learning how to ride a bike. Knowledge is the information that you have learned. In the example of learning how to ride a bike, you would have knowledge about how to balance, how to pedal, and how to steer. Understanding is the ability to make sense of information. In the example of learning how to ride a bike, you would have understanding of how the different parts of the bike work together and how to use them to move forward. Learning is a complex process that involves the acquisition of knowledge, understanding, and skills. It is a lifelong process that continues as we encounter new experiences. 5883. In levels of learning, what are the steps of progression? A. Application, understanding, rote, and correlation. B. Rote, understanding, application, and correlation. C. Correlation, rote, understanding, and application. The correct answer is B. The levels of learning progression are rote learning, understanding, application, and correlation. Learners progress from memorization to comprehension, then to problem solving, and finally to drawing conclusions and seeing relationships between information. The goal is to reach the highest level of correlation. This framework helps guide effective learning experiences. 5884. In the learning process, fear or the element of threat well? A. Inspire the learner to improve. B. Narrow the learner's perceptual field. C. Decrease the rate of associative reactions. The correct answer is B. When learners are in a state of fear or threat, their attention is narrowed to the source of the threat. This can lead to a number of problems, including reduced learning. When learners are focused on the threat, they are less able to focus on the learning material. This can lead to decreased learning and retention. Increased anxiety. The fear of making a mistake can lead to increased anxiety, which can further impair learning. Avoidance. Learners may avoid situations that they perceive as threatening, which can prevent them from learning new things. It is important to note that fear and threat can have different effects on different learners. Some learners may be more resilient to fear and threat than others. However, in general, it is best to avoid using fear or threat as a motivator for learning.